I'll be making a roguelike tower defense game in only 3 days. I mean, what could go wrong, right? Well, if we ignore the fact that the enemies T-pose you to death, your towers shoots literal clouds at the enemies, most of the game's important stuff happens in the console, the UI is just some ugly grey panels with some buttons that say button, and my compiler is about to go crazy, it went pretty well. But my New Year's resolution is to finally finish a game. So, this time round, I'll be fixing these problems so the game is actually playable. First up, I tackled the issue with the enemies. I replaced my previous placeholder enemies with some skeletons and slimes. Then, I gave them some walking and attacking animations. Then, I made a hit flash material using Unity's shader graph. And finally, made the enemies spawn some particles when they died to make killing them more satisfying. I also replaced the clouds with actual arrows. Making actual enemies? Check. Now it's time to fix this ugly mess. So I imported some free UI assets from Unity's asset store and got to work. I probably should have made some plans and made some concepts and designs before starting to work on the UI, but design and art has never been my strong suit. So I just winged it and this is how it turned out. You can now see your building stats, upgrade costs, how many workers you have and stuff like that. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's way better than before. After finishing the UI, it was finally time to tackle the artifact roll animation, because currently it just happens in the console. So I imported the free chest assets from Unity's asset store, and spent a huge amount of time working my 2 brain cells overtime and coding the chest opening animation. Although it was no easy task and I was about to lose my mind by the end, I finally managed to make it work and this is how it's turned out. First, some light effects reveal the rarity of the item that you got. Then, a black silhouettes of the artifacts start rising from the chest, constantly switching between artifacts and finally revealing the artifact that you got. Also, if this animation seems familiar, well, it's because it's just a way worse copy of the chest opening animation from the game Megabunk. I'm trying my best here, okay? After finishing the artifact roulettes, I decided to add a new tower to the game, a wizard tower. It strikes the enemies with lightning bolts and deals huge amounts of damage, but it has a lower fire rate than my previous archer tower. Also, it can target multiple enemies at once, and by increasing its level you can increase the maximum number of targets. Adding tower variety, check. After that, I added some animations to my buildings and towers to make them look cooler and less boring. And all of the animations were working perfectly and I definitely didn't run into any Is it me, or is this wizard looking kind of thick? It's a lot funnier when Danny says it. You see, because my wizards are a child of the tower that they are standing on, increasing the scale of the tower causes the wizards to also scale up, and making them huge. So, how do I fix this problem? Do I fix the animation so it doesn't affect the wizards? Do I spawn in the wizards after finishing the animation so it doesn't affect them? Yeah, right, these are the stuff a rational game dev would do. I just scaled down my wizards, so scaling them up causes them to be the perfect size. I mean, if it works, it works. After finishing the animations, I fixed some bugs here and there. Then I added a health bar to my wall, and made the game actually end when its HP reaches 0 instead of just printing game over in the console. Fixing bugs and polishing? Check. After that, I wanted to add some new enemies to the game because currently it's just way too easy and is kind of boring. So I added some new enemy varieties and introduced enemy buffs. These buffs make enemies a lot harder to deal with and make the game more enjoyable. There are currently 3 buffs in the game. Mana Shield. This buff causes enemies to have a mana shield that can absorb magical damage, but those shields are weak to physical damage, so you have to use your physical towers to defeat them. Next up, invisible enemies. These enemies cannot be targeted by your physical towers and only your magical towers can see them. And finally, elite enemies. These enemies have a 1% spawn chance, but have 10 times the stats of a normal enemy. I also added some ranged enemies that can target your wall from further away. With the addition of all this new stuff, the game feels way better now. So, adding enemy variety, check. After that, I decided to add some new artifacts to the game because at the time there were only 3 artifacts in the game. So, I added 8 more artifacts. An artifact that unlocks new tower spots. Another one that spawns archers on your wall. another that causes enemies to drop resources when they die, and many more. Adding all these artifacts is cool and all, but I felt like the game was missing something. Currently, the only way you can get artifacts is by gambling in the tavern, and rebuilding the tavern and gambling in it costs a lot of resources. So, by the time the players reach their first artifacts, they might get bored. So, I added a level system to the game. Each enemy you defeat causes you to gain XP, and each time you level up, you get a free artifact chest. Vampire Survivors. After finishing the new level system, I added a new tower to the game, an ice tower. It damages all the enemies inside its attack radius, also slows down their movement, and leveling the tower up causes the enemies to slow down even more. Making the game more enjoyable? Check. Now it was finally time to make a main menu for the game. Well, I'm not an expert in making artistic scenes that actually look good, but I managed to put together this scene with some actual interactable characters in the front. I'm probably gonna make him do Fortnite dances later on. Game of the Year right here. And with that, my roguelike tower defense game is finally playable. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there are people out there that are way more talented than me, and have made games that are far superior than this. And I don't know if my game is good enough to keep working on. But everybody has to start somewhere, right? So by the time I'm uploading this video, there are still some bugs and issues in the game that I have to fix. But after I fix those issues, I'll be putting the game on itch.io, and I would really appreciate it if you guys checked it out and told me what you think about the game. Even if you think the game is bad and it sucks, please let me know. I promise that I won't cry about it in the shower. Probably. And that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts about the game in the comments down below, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and stay tuned for more updates.